Hello everyone, Monty here, and today I'm going to talk about the power of being mindful. So this technique doesn't just apply to health and fitness, it can apply to anything. It can apply to finances, bad habits you want to break, getting exercise, it's still health and fitness, getting exercise in, building a better relationship with your kids, your spouse. It's just the Buddhist philosophy of being mindful, always thinking about what you're doing. It's funny, I have a little picture of Homer Simpson up here. Now, I've never really liked the show The Simpsons that much. I mean, I watched it maybe 6 times. I did laugh. Some of the things were a little inappropriate, but sometimes that's funny. I do think the whole character is funny, and I'm not really a big fan, but I saw the painting and I said I have to have it for my office because I'm so serious in the office that I want to be mindful to lighten up when I'm in the office. I also have another picture, it's like another cartoon, and then I got this motivational picture over here. So I'm always trying to be mindful to try to lighten the mood in my office, knowing that I'm very serious. So those of you may know, I just got done doing the Peloton. I'm dripping wet before I go take my shower. And I'm gonna make dinner, something I haven't made in like 2 years, or at least a year and a half. And I'm gonna post a picture of it and maybe I'll make a video too so watch the next video on what I'm making for dinner. And so let's get back to talking about mindful. I'm kind of lightheaded from the Peloton. I'm not thinking 100% straight. So being mindful, I talked about how I was doing intermittent fasting. And I talked about how we sometimes always say, what am I doing wrong? Why am I losing weight? I've been at a plateau of 10 to 15 pounds up from my 8% body fat for like 8-9 months now. And I just couldn't do anything to shake it. So I started thinking about Tony Robbins' message I heard on one of his audio cassettes years ago. That's how long ago it was. It says that as Americans, we always focus on what we're doing wrong. We don't focus on what did I do right when I was successful. So I thought back to when I was 8% body fat, and what did I do? Well, I weighed myself every day, even though people say don't do that, it's the worst thing. Weight Watchers, when I used to do Weight Watchers, people are still asking me, how many Weight Watcher points is that? I don't do Weight Watchers anymore, but I did Weight Watchers for 24 years, so I do mention it. But like Weight Watchers used to say, don't weigh yourself every day, once a week, it'll make yourself crazy. Nutritionists have told me this, diet experts have said this. But I always say, you can't always go by the rule of somebody else. You got to find out what works for you. Everybody's different. What works for me and keeping me accountable is weighing myself every day. It's not an accident that I stopped weighing myself for months and I haven't lost weight in months. I started weighing myself every day and doing intermittent fasting because those two things seem to work together well for me. And lo and behold, I lost another half a pound. I'm down 3 pounds now in a week and 1 day, which I think is excellent, excellent results. So, let's talk about being mindful with weight and fitness, right? So with weight, there's so many ways to be mindful, and I talk about this all the time. So weighing yourself, weighing and measuring your food. So I don't do videos and show you how I weigh and measure. I'm gonna do a chat tomorrow on creating your new normal, right? That's gonna be my topic tomorrow. But it's my new normal that I weigh and measure everything. And I know that it seems like drudgery in the beginning, and it is. It's hard in the beginning. But I always say after you do it a while, it becomes a habit, and it's not drudgery anymore. So for me, I'm just making dinner. I'm getting out the measuring cup. I'm getting out the scale. I have a little electronic scale. Please don't ask me what kind of scale. They're all good. You don't need to buy my scale. My scale is not magical. Okay? People always ask me, well, what scale do you use? I don't know. I break them all the time. So I have so many different models. It doesn't really matter. They're all pretty good. Anyway, so the art of weighing and measuring is being mindful. You're controlling your portions. I always talk about counting calories. It's being mindful. It has been biologically proven, scientifically, not biologically, scientifically proven that from your weight, your height, your activity, your age, you burn a certain amount of calories, and you eat more than those calories, you'll gain weight. You eat at the calories, you maintain your weight. You eat below, you lose weight. It's a mathematical formula. So you have to be mindful of what you're eating in order to lose weight. It's such a simple concept. So many people are like, oh, counting calories, that's too much work. Well, you know what? Being overweight and worrying about your weight and not liking what you see in the mirror, not being able to do things with your kids or your spouse, activity-wise, or having to be on medication, that's a lot of work too. So I always say it's hard, right? It's hard in the beginning, it's hard to count your calories and measure and weigh it. It is definitely hard. I always tell people, if you're starting out new, don't kid yourself. It's going to be hard. It's going to be a lot of extra work. But eventually, it'll become your new normal, and it'll just be normal to you, and it won't be any more work. And then the rest of your life is not hard anymore because you're not looking in the mirror unhappy. You're not mentally beating yourself, telling yourself horrible things when you look in the mirror. When you go out shopping, it's not a tip to our clothes. It's a fun experience. It's not a bad experience. So, if you lived in New York City and you were going to drive all the way to California, you certainly wouldn't say, I'm just going to hit the road and hope for the best and I'd get there. No, your olden days you'd get a map. Nowadays you'd use navigation. You're using an app. You use an app for your calories and you count calories. And not only it's not only the art of being mindful about how many calories you're consuming to make sure that you're burning more than you're consuming, right? So, you then add more calories for activity, and you calculate the activities. I just rode the Peloton. I'll get for half an hour, and I did abs for 15 minutes. So I'll put that into my calorie count, my calorie counting app, lose it, and I'll get about 300 more calories. So, and then you have to be mindful that sometimes that's giving you too many calories, and sometimes you can't eat all the calories for the activity. Like I know when I did Weight Watchers years ago, I never ate the calories for exercise, and I always lost weight every week. Now I eat the calories, and sometimes I don't lose weight, so I may want to back off on those calories. It's all being mindful of the process, right? And tweaking the process. So we're mindful about weighing ourselves on a regular basis, measuring and weighing the food, counting the calories, entering your exercise, right, in the calorie counter. I don't care if you use Lose It or MyFitnessPal, they're all good, right? So I've never heard anybody say, oh, this one sucked. I never heard that. They're all good. Now I haven't tried the others, so I can't, don't ask me. Everybody says, well, Monty, which one's best? Like, I've tried every one. No, I haven't. Okay, so please, I get so frustrated. It's like, oh my God. No, I haven't. I'm so busy during the day. I feel bad that I want to answer all the questions, but it kind of frustrates the hell out of me because people think, oh, did you try this food and that food and that? And some of the stuff I've never even heard of. Anyway, I digress. So not only is it being mindful what you're putting into your body, right? You're being mindful about combinations and weeks that you're successful. Okay, let's look at a week that I was really successful and I lost 2 pounds. What did I do on that week versus a week when I didn't lose any weight? Did I drink enough water? Did I exercise those weeks? Did I eat a particular food that may have thrown me off? Like some people eat a lot of bananas, they gain weight. Some people eat a lot of cherries, they gain weight. Some people eat a lot of bread, they gain more weight. And then you can use that as a guide to see what you're more successful on. Like Lose It always kind of gives me little pop-up messages. Oh, we found that there's a positive result. I forget exactly what the terminology. Positive eating pattern. When you eat this food, you tend to stay within your calories when you eat this food. I mean, also positive food patterns, they call it. Now, this whole thing about being mindful isn't just for health and fitness, exercise. It can be for, finances. So for me, I'm not one person to be a budget person, right? So I originally calculate, what I can spend and what kind of car I can buy and what I can, my mortgage and all, what I can afford. But I don't go over the budget like some people. Like I was with somebody for 6.5 years, and every Saturday he'd spend like 2 hours going over his budget in an Excel spreadsheet. And I just don't have that much free time. I'm usually doing paperwork on the weekend for work. I'm studying something. I'm putting my hours in for my consulting. So my company gets paid by my customer. And usually half the day is gone by that on Saturday. And I don't want to be spending another 2 hours doing a budget. But what I do is I'm mindful that I have my company take out the max for the 401k and money into another savings account. So I'm already making my yearly financial goals of savings before I even get any money. They always say, pay yourself first. There was a book I read, and I forget which one. It wasn't wasn't Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I don't know. It was one of these books, these financial books, years and years ago. It said, always pay yourself first. And I've heard this from so many people. So even though I'm not doing my budget, because I hate budgets, I really am reaching my financial goals, and I am kind of budgeting, leaving whatever's left over to pay my bills. And then I know, because maybe once a year I go through, what can I really afford everything that I have? Should I cut some stuff down? And so that's with finances. With your relationships, it's the same thing. So I'm very mindful that I made a goal that I want to find a relationship. I gave myself a year. It's been like 4 months, trying all different things. And so far, nothing's worked. I've talked to a couple guys, met a couple guys, nothing's worked. It's like big zero. but I'm switching gears. I was doing well with my financial goal. I also had another goal to have a year's worth of bills in the bank by the end of the year. I got to like 30% by just taking my bonus money and putting it away, that I was going to buy stuff for the house, a new closet I was going to do, and some other things. And then I was being mindful that I haven't really done anything since then, and so I figured out a way to get me another big chunk of the way there. I bought an electric car about a year ago. That was a used Cadillac ELR that was very expensive when it came out a couple of years ago. I bought it used, and it was still very, very expensive. It's cost me over $10,000 a year. And when I bought it, I wanted to make sure that the battery was warranted, because I was worried. They only made 2,300 of this car. Nobody's ever seen this car. When I'm on the road, everybody was like, oh my God, what kind of car is that? And it was a two-door coupe, really cool looking, very futuristic looking, but only got 40 miles to the charge. But for me running around town, that was great. And then I got frustrated because I had to keep bringing it back. It wasn't charging anymore. Like, I was getting like 20 miles to the charge, and they were fighting me for warrantying it. And I finally just said, you know what? I'm just gonna sell the car. I don't need two cars, especially with Corona. I'm not driving, I'm not going anywhere. And that'll help me get to my other goal. I don't need this big fancy car, right? I have another one, I have another fancy car. What do I need two for? So I was proud of myself that I was mindful that getting rid of this car would get a lot of frustration out of my mind. I was mindful that I was getting very frustrated. I would keep bringing it back because I don't have time during the workday to keep bringing it back to service and fighting with Cadillac. And I was mindful that I wasn't making my financial goal for putting money away, so I just got rid of the car. I said, I'm saving on insurance, I'm saving on the car payment, I'm saving on the other thing for the Cadillac, OnStar, for the Sirius radio. I mean, it's gonna cost me, I'm gonna save over $10,000 a month, so that's another $10,000 towards my goal. So all these things of being mindful, thinking about what things are costing you, thinking about how, measuring your success, goals. You should have your goals. You should be revisiting your goals. You should be putting your goals notable places in front of you. Like, so I don't do this anymore, but I have my goals here in my office, and I look at them like once every 2 days. Some people, in the beginning, I used to put my goals on sticky notes, like where I was shaving in the morning in my bathroom. Some people put it in their refrigerator, some people in their office, on their wall. Always keeping things in front of you. And before you make any move that may contradict your goals, like me, I can't buy anything. I told myself I can't buy anything expensive until I get to my financial goal, the year's worth of bills in the bank. It stops me. I think, do I really want to buy this? Do I really want? That's going to contradict my other goal. And so getting rid of the car was going to help me get to my goal. Weighing myself every day was going to keep me mindful about my weight, every morning. So making good decisions. At night, I think about the intermittent fasting. It's past 8, I can't eat. And it's been, going back to intermittent fasting has been really, really great for me. So I still count calories. I believe in it 100%. I weigh and measure everything. And the good thing about weighing and measuring too, it gets you mindful about how many calories you used to eat and how many calories the average American is eating and how many calories are in everything, right? Because you're constantly putting into your brain, ooh, that much of avocado is 80 calories. That much of cheese is 90 calories. And after a while, you get pretty good. Like, I can throw a handful of cheese into my little cup when it's on the scale, and 9 times out of 10, I'm almost dead on the 1 ounce because I've done it so many times. So I can't begin to tell you guys how just really being mindful and being in that mindset that you think about everything before you do it. Because I always tell people, and I think that's what I like about the Homer Simpson thing. It's what I don't want to be. I remember one episode of the Homer Simpsons. He's like, donuts, donuts. And he sees them and he eats them, sees them and he eats them. I think that's how we are sometimes. We're like, cake in the break room, cookies in the break room, all this food, oh, a big portion, and we don't think. We're not mindful about what we're doing before we consume it, before we eat it, before we spend it, before we say something to a loved one. So we got to be more mindful about what we say and what we do internally and externally. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's chat. Tomorrow, I'm just sorry, I forgot what I was, I'm so out of it from the Peloton, I forgot what I was creating your new normal, that's tomorrow. I'm gonna talk about creating your new normal tomorrow, and I'm gonna be doing a cooking video after I get out of the shower, because I'm a smelly, hot mess right now. And I'll be making something I haven't made in a long time. It's gonna be a really great dinner. I'm excited to make it for you guys. Hope you all have a great dinner, and check out my dinner video tonight.